Okay, once you come close to the end, what you're gonna do, you're gonna hold this screw because it's gonna go really easy. And with the right hand, you're gonna support the suspension so it doesn't drop down. So I'm gonna slowly undo this screw. Go easy now with the hand. Okay, I'll leave this one here. And then from the bottom, I'm just gonna slowly take it out. And that's the suspension and everything else from the car. Okay, so now when you take it out, you see how it's off, the suspension doesn't sit straight, it sits off center. Once you pull the springs and everything out, when you're putting it back, it's going to be really hard. So what I find out, that I'm gonna line it up with this hose for the sit on the brakes, and I'm just gonna go and put the little marks on each side so I know how they're gonna align when I'm putting them back in. So you got a mark here and you got a mark there, and I align it with this part here. It doesn't need to be 100%, but it helps to be close by. Okay. The next thing you will need is the spring compressors. You can buy them any auto shop. It's fairly simple, they're about 60 bucks. So what you do, you're gonna clamp them here, tie them up a little bit until they sit together. And then on the other side, parallel with them, do the same thing. It's very important to use this one properly, otherwise it's very dangerous. Many different ways how you can do this. Some do use a ratchet gun and everything, but it's more safer if you do it manually because it's gonna take you longer time, but at least you're safe. It's not gonna bend the suspension or the springs, and they're not gonna bow out and bounce somewhere. So you need to just tie them up like this. And usually what I do, I count about 20 of these. I do this 20 times on one side and do the same thing on the other side, so they're going together at the same rate, so they're both compressing at the same time. And you do this until you compress the springs enough to loosen up from this part. Okay, once you finish compressing it all the way, like leave, as long as you can move this part here or the top, should be able to take it out. Now the other thing is, this is underneath, this is the top of the strut bar again. What you're gonna do, it's the same part what we did upstairs, but we're gonna do from here now, because that's the bottom part which holds actually the spring together. So we're gonna use the same number 10 and number whatever this was, 9/16. And we're gonna undo this one slowly as we're going and doing this. The springs are compressed, so nothing should happen. It only has a little bit on the end, but the thing what's gonna happen is, as you undoing this screw here, the actual shock absorber is pulling this rod back in, so it looks like it's gonna go inside, but it's nothing to worry about. The only thing you need to worry about here, when you take these two parts off, there is a set of bearings which they usually fall apart when they're a little bit older. What I usually like to do when I'm taking them off, I usually leave the same. As I'm taking them off, that's how I'm putting them on the floor. So you know the order of the parts, how you're putting them inside. And this is the little bearings. They pull apart. What I usually like to do, I like to open this one up and clean them all nicely, put a bit of more grease, but be careful because they're falling apart everywhere, like you see. They're really tiny. So what you do, you carefully pull them all apart and clean them individually, put a bit more new grease, and it's just going to be better for later on. Then this is just the bump stop. Don't forget the order how they're going. As you can see, this one is pretty damaged. So I'll need a new part for this one. I went to the Bursons today and they said they don't have it. Probably hold them directly or some aftermarket parts, probably Nolanite. Now this is just the cover on the top. But inside here you got a little cable tie that holds these boots together. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna get a cable cutters and you're just gonna cut it off. Thank you. So just cut it off close to the head. And that's it. Now you can take the spring out, and that's it. See, the cylinder is gonna pull it backwards. So once you finish everything, you just put it back the way you took it out, and that's about it.